here for CAA football, the Blitz, as we continue.
And he may go the distance. Terrence
You're going to put yourself in a situation to win a lot of football games.
Welcome, CAA football fans, to the Blitz. I am Bobby Broyles, joined by my colleague Scott Meyer. Week 1 is in the books, and before we give you a recap of this past week, Scott, we had a couple players recognized nationally for their performances over the weekend. Let's begin with Old Dominion quarterback Taylor Heineke, who absolutely loaded the stat book Saturday in their win over Duquesne.
He actually did, Bobby. That was a great performance by Heineke. 492 yards through the air, 9th most all-time in CAA football annals. Then you take a look at what he was able to do total offense-wise as well. He's 37 yards away from being the all-time record holder in terms of total offense in one game, and then also 7 plays away from being the record holder for total plays involved in. I mean, that's impressive numbers, but obviously across the board, that offense that Old Dominion put out on the field Saturday, 106 plays. You don't see that very often in today's game.
Not at all. Also being recognized nationally, Georgia State punter Matt Hubbard, who launched an 80-yard punt in the Panthers' Thursday night game against South Carolina State.
Yeah, Hubbard logged 62.2-yard average over 5 punts. That's the best ever in Division I history at the FBS and FCS level. Due to the reclassification of Georgia State, they can't go into NCAA record books. We'd include them in CAA record books because that's an impressive number. We just don't have that mark. We have total, we have number of punts and that kind of thing. But if you talk to Coach Curry about Hubbard's performance, he was impressed with the ability that Matt had in kicking the ball, making contact with the ball. He said he got a few good rolls, but on top of that was just his form and his mechanics in getting those kicks to go that far.
Well, congratulations to both Taylor and Matt for their national recognitions. Those aren't the only awards these two gentlemen garnered over the weekend, as we take a look back at our Players of the Week and a recap of Week 1 around CAA football. Offensive Player of the Week goes to Old Dominion quarterback Taylor Heineke, who completed 41 passes for 492 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Monarchs' win over Duquesne. Defensive Player of the Week goes to William & Mary safety Brian Thompson, who finished Saturday's game versus Maryland with 7 tackles and a first-quarter interception that set up a Tribe field goal. Rookie of the Week goes to New Hampshire quarterback Sean Goldrich, who passed for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for 71 yards in the Wildcats' 38-17 win over Holy Cross. Special Teams Player of the Week goes to Georgia State punter Matt Hubbard, who averaged a net of 62.2 yards, including an 80-yard punt against South Carolina State. The defending CAA football champions, the Towson Tigers, took on FBS opponent Kent State to kick off the college football season Thursday night. Running back Terrence West, last year's CAA Offensive Rookie of the Year, scored twice on the ground for the Tigers. Quarterback Grant Enders threw for 246 yards and a score, but 6 turnovers plagued the Tigers as they fall to Kent State 41-21. Friday night, it was the Mayor's Cup as the Villanova Wildcats took on city rival Temple. Redshirt quarterback John Robertson led the Wildcats with 213 yards of total offense, including this 4-yard touchdown run late in the first half to cut the Owls' lead to 11. But Temple's 301 yards on the ground would be too much for Villanova as they dropped their opener 41-10. William & Mary opened up their season Saturday afternoon as they took on ACC foe Maryland. The Tribe held the Terps to just 236 total yards and forced 4 turnovers. 2 Drake Kuhn field goals gave the Tribe a 6-0 lead midway through the 4th quarter, but a late touchdown by Maryland would give them the 7-6 win over the Tribe. The Richmond Spiders opened up their 2012 campaign Saturday afternoon with a trip to Charlottesville to take on Virginia. Senior quarterback John Lobb led the Spiders, passing for 178 yards in this 3rd quarter touchdown toss to Seth Fisher, but UVA accounted for over 500 yards of offense as they beat the Spiders 43-19. As you saw in the highlights, several CAA football teams faced off against FBS competition. Scott, we know the history and success of the league against FBS schools. What factors or ingredients have to play out so a team in the CAA can come away with one of those upsets early in the season?
I mean, everybody looks at there's a disparity in terms of scholarships, but yeah, that is the case. I think if you look at numbers on the field, FCS teams probably will play 30 to 40 guys in a given game. FBS, given the number of scholarships that they have, they can probably reach 50 to 60 guys, and I think you start to see that difference in the third and fourth quarter. Now, that's not saying we're not going to have success. We've won a game against an FBS team each of the last 6 seasons. New Hampshire, going back to 2009 and 2004, in that 6-year span, 5 straight FBS wins. So there is success, but also overall 29 and 133 against those teams. We're not going to win them all. It's a matter of one play. You know, I think a coach like Coach Laycock, going back to last weekend in the William & Mary game against Maryland, he pointed out a couple plays, and in particular a play on Maryland's scoring drive. 3rd and 8, they get a play that goes for 20 yards. He says if they make a tackle on that play, they force a 4th down and maybe hold them to a field goal. You know, so that's the difference. There are those little things that have to play out and work for you in succession to make you successful against the FBS foes.
CAA football will have another shot at knocking off an FBS school this weekend. As we look at week 2, let's begin with New Hampshire at Big Ten foe Minnesota.
Yeah, big matchup here. You look at Sean Goldrich, Rookie of the Week honors last week, but the key matchup in this one's Matt Evans and Chris Behringer on the defense for New Hampshire going up against a 6'4", 250-pound quarterback in Marquise Gray for Minnesota.
Maine opens their season this week with a trip to Chestnut Hill to take on ACC opponent Boston College.
Yeah, Maine starts its season off this weekend after Boston College already played a game against Miami. I think the key is to look at Marcus Wasilewski and how he steps into that starting role for the Black Bears.
And in a non-FBS contest, Delaware kicks off our NBC Sports Network coverage as they host Delaware State.
Yeah, NBC Sports Network package starts this weekend, a great time for CAA football. Coach Keeler felt that Andrew Pierce maybe was a little bit pedestrian in their game against Westchester, and looking for him to kind of take some pressure off of Trent Hurley and that wide receiving core of Delaware. Look for that to be big for the Blue Hens this weekend.
Here's a look at the rest of this weekend's action around CAA football. For Scott Meyer, I'm Bobby Broyles. Thank you for tuning in to CAA Football The Blitz. We will see you right here next week. Enjoy the games.